You are listening to the Icehouse Podcast, hosting conversations with gritty Kiwi business owners and leaders and industry-leading minds.
Hello everybody and welcome to this week's episode of the Icehouse Podcast. I am Bryar, I am the community manager, and I get to have incredible conversations with our Icehouse alumni and our team in this case to get to know them a little bit better. Today we have Olivia Blaylock on the podcast. She is the new Chief of Growth or Chief Growth Officer here, and she's also an Owner Manager Program 24 alumni, which is quite a cool perspective. Olivia, I'm looking forward to getting to know you a little bit better, and I think our listeners are too. So thanks for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Bryar. It's great to be here. Not that you really gave me much choice.
I didn't give you much choice, but here we are. It's great. And we like to start with quite an open question, and that is, who is Olivia? What are you passionate about? What's your sense of purpose?
Yeah, that is quite a big question. So I guess I'm a mum of two boys. Riley is 23 and Cooper is 13. So quite a gap there. Took a bit of convincing to have a second one, and then it took a while. But they're wonderful young men. I'm married to Stewart, and I'm a dog mum to Nelson. I am a 261 Fearless Run coach. So 261, do you know much about
No,
that?
yeah, tell me more.
So 261 Fearless was started by a woman named Catherine Switzer, who in 1967 was running the Boston Marathon as a female runner, and her race number was 261, and people thought that females couldn't run marathons and tried to physically remove her off the field, which is just crazy.
Wow.
Said crazy things like, woman running that far, your uterus will fall out, and all sorts of things. Anyway, Catherine lived fearlessly and started a community to help women get into running. So I'm really proud to be one of the New Zealand coaches and lead a group each week.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I have seen photos of her trying to be taken off as she was running.
Crazy, eh? I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Yeah, so I'm that. I'm a proud New Zealander, love New Zealand, have been fortunate enough to travel a lot around the world and think New Zealand's the best country. And I'm passionate about improving the lives of New Zealanders, which sounds really cheesy, but it's really important to me in the work that I do that I'm helping, make New Zealand a better place for everyone.
Yeah, wow, what a great introduction to you. I'm learning lots, this is great. Give us insight into what a day in the life of Olivia looks like.
Well, it's changed recently
Yeah.
quite a lot with coming to work at the Icehouse. But I'm fortunate enough to live on the sunny North Shore of Auckland, surrounded by lots of beautiful beaches. So most mornings see me out pretty early, running or walking with Nelson. And now, of course, I come into the city every day and get to work with a great Icehouse team. There's some adjustments at home at the moment while we all get used to me not being around. So sometimes I come home and have to cook dinner, and other times Cooper's learning how to cook, shall we say. So just busy being a working mum.
Yeah, wow. That's very inspiring. What hobbies, with all of that, the juggle of motherhood and a leader in business and the change of, which we'll go into soon, you having your own business, so maybe a little bit more flexibility. With all of that, what helps you personally reset, relax, recharge as a leader? As a human.
So I guess spending time with my family and friends, and that time is way more precious now too. Sport is a really big part of our lives, and always has been a big part of my life. I'm not very good at it, but I love it, and I'm pretty competitive. So I like to play sport, but more often now my time is spent managing youth sport, which is pretty cool, seeing the lessons that kids can apply from what they've learned on the sports field to life and helping them with some of that.
You're manager of winners. You are. You need to put that in the podcast. You're a manager of winners.
I am, true. The mighty Takapuna Manchester United under-13 team had a great season this year. But, do you know, it's funny. They are winners and they had 20 games undefeated this season, but we didn't put the emphasis on winning. Yeah. You know, it was fun, about having fun and playing with your mates. And I mean, it wasn't in a cringy kind of way that we're only here to have fun. Like, of course the kids want to win, but that wasn't the end, the sort of be all and end all. Totally. But it just happened naturally anyway, which is really interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah. And outside of that, just love good New Zealand wine and food and cooking and sharing meals with friends and all those sorts of things.
Very cool. And you're from Nelson originally?
I am from sunny Nelson. Yeah.
Very
so
cool.
and my dog's called Nelson.
Yeah.
So that's a bit cute, isn't it?
It is. I love the tie-in. When I worked there, I was like, nicely done. I would love if you could unpack what your career backgrounds looked like. What the experiences look like, and then we'll get into that transition from business owner to what you're doing today.
Sure, yeah. So I've had a really varied career in sales and marketing. I started my career as the first female grad at Mainfreight on their graduate program.
Wow.
So back in the day when Mainfreight was a much smaller business.
First ever?
Than it is now. Yeah, there was one woman before me, but it wasn't in a formal kind of grad role.
Wow.
And so there weren't a lot of girls around at all, really, or females around at all in that business. And that was pretty cool. I stayed for a while, but like most grads, got impatient and couldn't understand why I wasn't being promoted as quickly as I wanted to be. And moved on and had various marketing roles, including, in corporate, and quickly realised that corporate wasn't for me. That I'm much more productive and effective and inspired by smaller businesses and smaller organisations. But I learnt some really great disciplines from working in corporate, which have been helpful over the years. I spent some time at, what's now New Zealand Trade and Enterprise, so Trade New Zealand it was back then, working with Kiwi businesses and helping them export, and loved that role. And I guess that, sort of taps into my passion for growing New Zealand. Spent some time at the Child Cancer Foundation as and leading the marketing team there, and we introduced the Beads of Courage to the organisation then, which is still used today. So really, really wonderful opportunities. And then in 2009, my husband Stuart and I bought the sales and leadership training company David Foreman. So David Foreman was a Kiwi business, started in 1970, and we owned it until 2021.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's we sold that 2 years ago. Yeah.
It's got quite a theme, your passion for making New Zealand great and seeing growth in business and in individuals was kind of stemmed quite early on in your career, which is great. Like, I know it's not been linear, but it's been a theme throughout. Yeah,
it has always been there. And before I went to university, I was the national coordinator of SAD, or Students Against Driving Drunk.
Wow.
So I actually started nursing school straight out of school. I went to Nelson Polytech, I guess it was in the day, and to start nursing training, and ended up being approached by SAD, which I'd been involved with at school, to run the organisation for them.
Wow.
Which was pretty exciting when I was 18. My children think it's hilarious that I was ever going to be a nurse, because they think I'd be terrible. But so I went and did that for a few years, and looking back, I think that really was the start of this passion that I have for helping improve New Zealand and New Zealanders' lives.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty wonderful opportunity as an 18-year-old to spread the word, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's good to hear.
Yeah.
Grassroots, how it started.
Yeah.
If you were to go back to that point even, what experience or what advice would you give yourself as a little bit of a heads up?
I think that that would be around that it's okay to show vulnerability, and it's okay to ask for help, And I mean, I'm a huge Brené Brown fan, and she's kind of led the way in this space. But she's so right, you know, showing vulnerability is a strength, and it helps you build connection.
Yeah.
I think also just that you don't have to do it all yourself, you know, like, I wish I'd known that earlier on. And then I think also as a young woman starting out in business, and perhaps in quite a male-dominated industry, I wish I'd understood a little bit better that there's a difference between being aggressive and being assertive. And, you know, feeling like you have to be one of the boys.
Yeah.
And just not being, truly authentic. Because, that was a pretty tiring game. And again, just actually showing a little bit of the softer side of you, is okay.
Did you have a moment where you went, oh, this isn't sitting right with me, I need to just be myself? Or is this developed over time?
I think it's just developed over time.
Yeah.
And, you know, I remember one occasion where I had to make a tough restructuring decision when we owned the business. And, you know, things like that are really awful.
Oh, yeah.
Really awful, really hard. And I think no matter how many times or how experienced you are, if you don't feel a little bit uncomfortable, that there's something wrong with you, right?
Totally.
So I remember just actually previously when I'd had to do things like that, I was a bit more factual about it. But the time that I did show more of a human side, I actually think that people received it a bit more.
Yeah.
A bit easier too.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really inspiring to hear. And I think sometimes it can be scary to like put ourselves out there and show all of ourselves at work or whatever, but it actually builds such better trust with your teams. And so totally. I appreciate that. That's really cool.
Totally. And particularly if you're working in a small business. Yeah. You know, it's really hard to hide. I think if you're in a larger corporate, you can be someone, you know, from during the workday and be someone else after hours. But when you're in a small team, you're way more visible and
for sure. It really does become like that work family. So
totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you really enjoy having your own business? Like, I'm sure that would have fulfilled you.
Yeah, it was great. You know, it's not that I set out always wanting to own our own business, but if I think back about it now, my parents had me when they were very young, or had all of us when they were very young, and have been really hard workers all their life. And so my dad owned a business for a really long time, and you know, I love business. I love the fact that there are so many great things happening out there in our world and in our communities that you just have no idea about, right? And I'm naturally curious, and I just love finding out about things. You know, driving somewhere and you see all these places around and you're like, I wonder what they do in there and stuff. So and running a business like David Foreman, you know, we were really privileged, and it's much the same at the Icehouse, where we are lucky enough to be invited into those businesses. Yeah. And people share all sorts of things with you, and it was awesome. Yeah, totally. Yeah. But, you know, also really, really hard, and really underestimated how hard it was. You know, it's all you, and it's literally everything. It's your house, like literally, you know. Totally. So, it's scary, but extra cool when it goes well. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And you know, it's becoming very clear through our chat, but how did all of that lead to the decision to work for the Icehouse, to see the job, apply, and now be in the role? So after selling our business 2 years ago, I contracted back to the new owners for a while, and then, you know, needed to find something else to do, and I guess I wanted to stay true to that purpose of mine of wanting to help New Zealand overall. And, you know, I looked at lots of opportunities, and I mean, I know lots of people, I've met lots of people and stuff, and there were all sorts of things around, but it needed to have that sense of the alignment to my purpose. And I know the Icehouse, right? I'm an alumni. I've done OMP, and I truly believe in what we do here. So it feels like a really nice coming home almost.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, very natural step.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, I think
and
so.
may I add that I love having you on the team. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
You're already making such an impact, and I know that will just continue. So we're
Thank
backing you all the way.
Awesome.
How does this insight into the world of running an SME support you in your role?
Yeah, so my role at the Icehouse is to lead the sales and marketing and partnership team. And so, really important, you can't do that without understanding our customers.
Yeah.
And I've been one, so that's, I'm really lucky that, that I've lived the life of our customers. I've bought a small business, I've restructured a small business, grown a small business, and ultimately sold a small business. So I understand the key sort of milestones on the journey of our customers, which I think is really helpful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What would you say your personal superpower is when it comes to leadership and business?
I don't know if I'd call it a superpower, but I think one thing that I'm pretty good at is making decisions. And, I think a lot of people struggle for various reasons to make decisions. And it's not always easy, but decisions have to happen, right?
Yeah.
And so I love what Jeff Bezos says about his decision-making framework. And his whole theory on it is that you look at making decisions like you do opening a door. And so you can have a one-way door that only opens one way, and once you go through it, you can't come back, right? So that's a sort of analogy you use if you're making a really massive decision like selling your business or selling your house or something like that. Whereas a two-way door, you can go through it, but you can always come back. And if you think about decisions from that capacity, they might be things like restructuring a team, changing your pricing strategy, launching a new product. You can do that, and if it doesn't work out, you can actually undo it.
Yeah.
It's not a one-way, life-changing kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think often people get those mixed up, and so they mistake a two-way door decision for a one-way door thing, and then what ends up happening is nothing happens, and that's really frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit of a mic drop moment, to be honest. My brain's just like, what? Because it's so good for a business to be able to make a clear decision on something.
Yeah.
And we do get that mixed up, and it comes back to what you were saying before around just being real and vulnerable. When you, I guess, can be vulnerable enough to go, I made the wrong decision. Let's go through the door again.
Totally.
It kind of takes the pressure off getting it wrong. Yeah,
exactly.
Can you see my brain just spinning as I'm repeating back what you've just said?
Well, I wish I could claim
totally.
take the claim for that. But when I learned about that, I thought that, well, that's actually kind of that's what it's just a way of articulating what I haven't ever been able to articulate.
Yeah.
But I can see some people they become so scared to make a decision, and I've always said to my teams, like, what is the worst thing that can happen?
Yeah.
Right? Most things can be undone.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do make a mistake, and who cares, right? What did we learn from it? And
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool to hear.
So I think that that's a superpower. And I don't know. One that I would love to have, and I think I'm developing, is another Brené Brown one around being clear as kind and being unclear as unkind.
Yeah.
And I think so many challenges or problems in business can come from when people are not clear with their expectations.
Yes. Yeah.
And, and I think a classic example is around performance feedback, where some people do this, have a formal performance conversation once a year, and they've never taken the opportunity along the way to give feedback, positive or constructive feedback. But often what happens is they get to this formal thing, and the boss says, oh, hey, you haven't done this or this or this. And I think to leave it to that point is really cruel, because often it's the first time they've ever heard of it.
Yeah.
So that's something that I've really been working on over the last few years. Brené's got a lot to answer.
Yeah, I love Brené.
Yeah.
Clear as kind. Absolutely. That's so good.
Yeah.
I want to touch on, because it's quite a common thing, family business at the Icehouse and people working together within families. Is there any advice for those listening that are in family business or working with their life partner? Any tips for working well as a team?
Don't do it.
That's probably not what you want to do. No, it's great. It's real. Someone will be laughing on the other side of that.
No, look, I think it can work really well where you have really clear roles defined.
Yes.
And I don't think that that's something that Stuart and I did well enough. There were times where we did, and it was and it worked, and things were a lot smoother for everyone else around us. But I think for us, we had quite similar backgrounds, so it was really easy to meddle in each other's business in a lot of ways. Whereas where I've seen it work really successfully is where you have quite clear skills and you sort of stick to your knitting a wee bit. Yeah. So defining those roles are really
advice.
hard. But like the separation is so hard because when you're in a family business, it tends to be all you talk about all the time. And I just, that's one thing I have to say I'm loving about working at the Icehouse now is I've got different work stories.
Yeah. How was your day? Okay, I can actually share something now.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
And we're still involved in similar things, but it's nice to sort of come home and share things that the other doesn't know about what's happened. That's really nice.
Yeah, that is really cool. I love to hear that. I'm these next few questions are support for those listening that are business owners themselves. From your experience as an award-winning marketer, and I love this, a bloody good salesperson, what do you think the art of good sales and good marketing is?
Yeah, I think it's to truly be customer centric, and that's a bit of a buzzword and people say it, but what does it really mean? And for me, it's about thinking about things with a customer lens and not our own business or product lens.
Yeah.
And so often, salespeople try and sell their product or push their product, when actually very few people need your product. What they need is the outcome that it provides. The opportunity lies where you can solve the problem for someone. So I think if we think about, solving a problem or solving a solution, even if you think about just a nail, right? No one needs to buy a nail. What they need is the wall fixed or the thing tapped in. You can tell I don't buy nails. But you know what I mean? Like it's actually
No judgment, because
and you see it. So if you truly think of sales as actually helping people buy, then it changes your mindset. And that's what I love about being at the Icehouse. Like I've met in only 8 weeks, I've met so many of our customers, running these great businesses, and I've had the chance to get out and hear them talk about their businesses and then help them.
Brilliant.
It doesn't occur to me that I'm selling things. So and I think that's where people can go wrong. And I see a similar thing with marketing where we talk about the features of what we're selling and not the benefits. And I remember I bought a car once and the guy was going on and on and on about these headlights, the type of headlights. I don't care. And I've got no interest. But when he started to say, my question is which means. So they'll talk to you about a feature and then I'm saying which means. And then he's like, oh, they're brighter at night time. And then I'm like, which means, and he goes, oh, it means it's safer for your family.
That's the stuff.
That's the stuff that we want to be talking about, not the technical stuff or the features kind of stuff. So
brilliant.
And I think the other thing is just going, the customer centric thing, thinking about every touch point your customer has on their journey. It's not over when the sale's done. It's everything that's invoicing. It's the way people answer the phone.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of work with tradespeople where, they might be the best tradespeople in the world, but if they come in and they don't clean up after them or, their vans are dirty and, all of that impacts your customer's perception of your brand and stuff. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great. I like that, which means. Write that down if someone's
it's
listening.
so easy, right?
Yeah.
You just start thinking about that. You kind of get to the, crystallizes it, I guess.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I love it. From your perspective as an alumni, what would you say the Icehouse magic is?
It really is magical, isn't it?
I like to say the Icehouse magic. It's a line I always throw around.
Yeah, it sounds a bit cheesy.
It does, yeah.
but it is. Oh, look, I think it's probably around connection, and it's an ability to create an environment that enables true connection. When you're a business owner, there's something about being able to be with other businesses who share similar challenges. At times as a business owner, it can be really lonely. People, I remember my friends that, you stayed in marketing careers and earning massive salaries and stuff and have no idea of the struggle of sometimes not knowing if you're going to be able to pay yourself this month or not, right? And the Icehouse works with businesses that are, in all stages of the journey. For SMEs, some are, way more successful than that, right? But I guess everyone has, just the shared experiences. The trust that you build in these environments is just mind-blowing. Only a couple of weeks ago, I went down and did our owner-manager exchange program. And so that's a program for people who have previously participated in the owner-manager program. And some of those people come every year and others come every few years. And it's like a reset that works. It's like a chance to share the biggest challenge that keeps you up each night as a business owner. And you've immediately, within a few minutes, I was just blown away by how, I guess it's the vulnerability thing, right?
Yeah.
People trust each other. They're sharing all sorts of things. We're brainstorming ideas on what the other people can do to overcome those issues and stuff. And it's awesome. And then the connection piece is also us connecting in and bringing in experts and subject matters that are relevant to business owners and their leaders and stuff. So I don't know, does that kind of
Absolutely. It's so good. Yes,
good.
Totally makes sense, and agree that connection and community is so important. What excites you most about your role?
Oh, well, I guess what I said before, just the chance to meet but also to help lots of Kiwi SMEs. I think there's an ability for us to have an even bigger impact than we're having now. Totally. And that doesn't necessarily to do to work with lots and lots and lots and lots of people, but I think there's an opportunity for us to work more with some people and help them on all stages of their journey, whether that's starting out or selling up, right?
Totally.
So there's lots of people that we want to spread that magic little dust a bit further with.
Yes, I like it.
Yeah.
Without putting on you on the spot, 8 weeks in.
9 now.
9 weeks in.
9 weeks in. Yeah, I'm nearly at that point where I
have to stop count.
Or where I can't say anymore. I'm new, so just explain this to me.
No. What opportunities do you see to drive growth in the organisation?
Yeah, I think it's growth and it's also impact.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And so I think we have a wonderful team of coaches at the Icehouse, and I think there's lots of our OMP customers, for instance, would really benefit from accessing a coach to help them along the way, because it can be really like you come out of OMP and you're all amped up and you've got all of these great things to do, and then the real world kicks in and you start to slip in a few things. And so one of the great things that the Icehouse does when you're on that journey is provides a form of accountability. Yeah. And sometimes you need a little bit more on a more regular basis. So I'd love to see us grow the coaching space a bit more.
Fantastic.
But then I also think that there's an opportunity for the Icehouse to tap more into the ecosystem that already exists. There's so many other great organisations out there that can help our customers, and we've some great partners out there that we can refer to. There's probably people out there with wonderful things that we don't even know about. So I'm keen to explore that, and I guess it's that connection thing, right? So help facilitate introductions and connect people up with other people and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool, very cool. Let's finish with this one and maybe some fun quick fire as well. But first, are there any personal or professional goals you'd like to achieve that you're willing to share? Bit of a cheeky one, but popping it in there.
So personally, we're a few weeks away from finishing our build on our dream home.
Cool.
It feels like that we're never going to achieve that. It's been such a long time coming, but that's really, really exciting.
Congrats.
Now, thank you. I also I am a slow marathon runner.
Cool.
There are 6 major marathons in the world, and I want to tick them all off.
Wow.
So far, I have done New York and London, and so I'm hoping to do the other 4 as long as my old injured body can keep up.
Very cool.
And professionally, I guess I want the Icehouse to have more impact, and so that we can help grow New Zealand.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So cool.
Thank you.
Oh, I love it. What a fantastic conversation, and I feel those listening have really gotten to know you more as well. You're very real. I love it. Let's finish with some quick fire fun questions. Favorite place in the world?
Probably the Marlborough Sounds.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I have lots of childhood memories of the Marlborough Sounds and the Pelorus Sounds, actually. Yeah, rowing dinghies and having lots of fun down there.
Very cool. When are you most productive?
Probably early in the morning, win the day, as they like to say. But then having said that, I also don't mind pulling the old all-nighter every now and then. The rest of the house have gone to bed and I don't have any more jobs to do. Sometimes I like to just smash something out into the wee hours and then start the day the next day knowing it's done.
Knowing it's done.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah.
If you were to write a book tomorrow, what would it be? What would it be about?
I think, and I'm sure it's been done before, but I know it has because I've read lots of them, but I guess my takes are on something around the lessons that sport can teach us.
Yes, cool. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Actually, that's come up so much in the podcasts. Is that idea of, people that are business owners and into elite sport or a sport in general, and just how much it's taught them.
Yeah.
And then also inspiring them to get a coach because they went, well, if, the best teams or players in the world have coaches, then me as a business owner probably needs one too.
Exactly.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. I remember employing someone who worked for us and she played the highest level of water polo you could play in New Zealand. Wow. And she would come to work. Water polo is such a crazy, violent game.
Yeah,
she'd come to work beaten up. But she was just amazing. She managed to do all of that training and get everything else done. She was goal focused. She understood routine and putting in the discipline and stuff. And then way before it was cool to work remotely, she got an opportunity to go and play water polo overseas and contacted us after she'd got over there. And because of the hours over in Europe, she was finding that she would train late at night because the pools weren't available till late at night, but she had all day left, and she was like, can I please do some work for you guys? And we were like, honestly, it was years ago. We were like, well, we know that she'll do it because she just has that discipline and stuff. Yeah. And brilliant. She did it, and it was really cool. Yeah,
it's fantastic. What's an app or a tool that you can't live without?
I think Spotify.
Yes, nice.
and that, and I'm going to say, I listen to a lot of podcasts. Clearly, I listen to the Icehouse podcast, right? But I guess with running and long runs and stuff too, listening. That's when I do a lot of my listening. And can I give a plug for my favourite podcast?
Please do. Please tell us your favourite podcast.
My favourite podcast is the Imperfects podcast.
Oh, I love it.
Do you love it?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it too. Yeah. And so, for those that don't know about the Imperfects podcast, it's run by a guy called Hugh Van Cuylenberg, an Australian comedian, Ryan Shelton, and Hugh's little brother Josh, and talks about how we're all imperfect, and they interview lots of great people, and it's just really inspiring, really real again, and I think that's what I love about it. And then in New Zealand, I love the Between Two Beers podcast too.
Yes, that's really good too. Yeah. Awesome.
I also do listen to lots of business stuff and things like that, but
ones that can make you laugh or make you go, oh wow, I didn't realise that about that person. There's one called But Are You Happy?
Yes.
And I really like that one too, because it's kind of the same as Imperfects in the way that successful people, okay, you've done all this stuff, but are you happy? It really breaks down what life is all about. So
and I think on the other thing with the Imperfects, and it's really relevant to people looking, you know, sometimes with deciding to invest in yourself in something like the owner manager program, there's a sense of, oh, it's not for me, or I'm not good enough, or I can't justify that expense, or and you know, sometimes when you go along, and I still remember that very first day, you feel really intimidated, or you can feel really intimidated. The whole imposter syndrome kicks in, but actually everyone is feeling the same, right?
Yeah, first day of school all over again.
Totally. And so more and more people that are talking about these things, like the guys on the Imperfects, it's just, it's very cool.
I love that. That's cool. And last one fun fact about you. This is the worst question of all time.
Definitely the worst question. I couldn't think of one fun fact about me, except I'm definitely the funniest in my family, I know that.
Yes. What a way to finish. I have such respect for people that just go, I am funny, because so many people say, like, you know, that is awesome. No. What a way to finish. Olivia, thank you so much. We have so gotten to know you, what your life looks like, your passion, your sense of purpose, and the fact that you are so wanting to drive for the impact that we are having at the Icehouse, and I'm so excited for that. So thank you for your time.
Cool. Thanks, Bryar.